Welcome back everyone. Have you ever wanted to run your oven in your motorhome off-grid? Well, stick around and we can show you some of the changes that we've had to make it work off-grid for our motorhome. Now, to start off, we first had to secure the oven. So for us to secure this, all it had was some little rubbers at the bottom here. So we've removed those rubbers and we've taken the screw out and replaced that screw with a longer screw, but we've also had to reinforce the connection with a little bracket here too. So we put an extra bracket plus the original screw that was on it, and that screws onto this beam here. And this beam, we've managed to get some proper caps for the beam as well. And between the beam and the bench is VHB tape, very high bonding tape. So we've cleaned the surface of the beam, we've cleaned the surface of the bench, and we've installed the very high bonding tape between this, and it's like impossible to lift it off. So we've got a beam on this side and a beam on that side, and we've run it fore and aft so that it if the vehicle rolls, it's going to have its highest amount of holding power. So it's, first of all, it's secured. I'm sorry about the mess at the top there. But then this runs into just a basic 240 volt outlet. So you need somehow to power it. Obviously we have an inverter. We have a 2000 watt inverter. We wanted to get a different type of oven that was but it was a higher power oven. So we decided on this particular one because it was a slightly lower power, because this was 1800 watts. I think the original one we were looking at was like 2000 watts. So that's one thing you have to really make sure, is that your oven that you're purchasing doesn't exceed the capacity of your inverter. So we made sure that the oven capacity is below the capacity of the inverter. Now, the next consideration, the other considerations, is the wires between the inverter and the battery. Okay, so the wires that we originally had were 0 gauge cable between the battery and the inverter. Now, there's not very much distance between the battery and the inverter, which would make you think that, oh, well, a 0 gauge cable would be plenty, but it's not. We were actually tested it, and we were getting about a 1.1 voltage drop, which was way too much. But with the 3/0 cable that we've now installed, we're getting about 0.4 voltage drop, which is, we're very happy with that. Okay, so we've increased the size of the cable between the battery and the inverter. The fuse is still the same because it's set up for a 2000 watt inverter, but we've increased the size of the cable. So we've got massive cables similar to the cables that run between the capacitor and the cranking battery. The 3/0 cable is now much better for it. So this oven is rated at 1800 watts, and the inverter is rated at 2000 watts continuous. So it's very close to like its maximum capacity. But we did test it the other day, and we were running 1900 watts from the batteries through the inverter into the Starlink and the oven at pretty much maximum air fryer 200 degrees, and we were getting only 0.4 voltage drop. So you want to make sure that your inverter is appropriately sized, basically higher than your oven, and you want to make sure that you've got your cable sizes and your fuses set up correctly. And because you are running so much power through your inverter, you want to make sure that you have it sufficient cooling and temperature monitoring in wherever your inverter and batteries are for the operation. And so because you don't want to have any overheating problems where your inverter is. And so the other consideration that we have is, because this is still just essentially a household oven, we put this little strap that goes around it so that the oven door doesn't open when we're traveling, and with the trays we put this non-slip stuff in there too, so that doesn't slide around when the vehicle is turning any corners. And that's pretty much the changes that we've needed to make this work. Put this back. To make this work in our motorhome. And so now we're really happy, because now we can cook a roast, we can make pizzas, and after 7 years we've been without an oven, so now we have an oven that we can operate, and it's pretty big too. It's got an air fryer function, we can grill, and it can even dehydrate food. So we're very happy that now we have an oven that's fully set up to operate from the batteries alone. So the only other consideration is, because this is an oven that produces a lot of heat, and we are capable of running the air conditioner as well from our batteries, we can't do both at the same time. So that's another consideration that you need to think about as well. If you have any other big consumers running, you don't want to be running that at the same time. So what we'd need to do is maybe cool the space down first, and then operate the oven for a short period of time and switch it back to the air conditioning. Or we go outside with the awning and do something outside as the cooking happens with the oven, or we could open the doors and let the wind breeze just flow through. That way we're not operating the oven and the air conditioner at the same time, overloading the inverter. All right, so I hope you enjoyed, I hope you got something out of the oven video and the changes that we've made, because it is a big change. So now that we've got the oven, we're sticking to our principles and making lemonade for the lemons of life, and we hope you got something from the video as well.